This is a live call with a real customer that I sold solar to, and this is exactly how I run my appointments to make this kind of money in a 4-month summer. Now, I want you guys to pay attention in this call to the way we get to the emotional level, the way we get to her problems, but not just her problems, but how her problems are affecting her personally and what it would do for her if we could solve those problems for her. Now, through this call, I follow Jeremy Miner's NEPQ framework, and we've covered this in past videos. Go back and watch them for an in-depth breakdown on each phase. But here, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to zoom in and I'm going to scroll through each step as I hit it in the call. Now, you'll find in this video, I don't follow the process exactly step by step. And that's because two things. One, my process is always evolving. And what I've shown you here is my latest process that I've dialed in. But at the same time, a good sales call is organic and authentic. And it doesn't follow some robotic script formula. It's connecting with a real person on a human level. And so these are good guidelines to help guide you through your conversation. But you'll find I bounce around between different phases. As we go through the call, we'll talk about her situation, what she wants to change about it, the problem, back to the situation, back and forth. So here's some context. So this is a lead that my brother, Mac, he set in Massachusetts, and I was not out. I'd already come home for the summer, and he set this on a Zoom call for me, and I'm running a Zoom call recording this while I'm talking to this lady. And the first question I asked her right before I pressed record, the question I asked her was, so when my brother knocked on your door, what was it that you were interested in? What were you curious about? What did he say about solar that made you want to get on this call and talk to me? And you'll hear her answer that, and then we go straight into it.
We talked about that your company comes in and they install the solar on my home. Mm-hmm. Right? And they're responsible for that.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm supposed to be able to reap the benefits and reduce my bill. And then what happens? Then you guys get so if I did solar, my leftover would get bought back into the grid. From National Grid, if that's who I'm with.
Yeah, it depends on how you set it up, I mean.
Right.
But yeah, so I guess it sounds like you might have looked at solar in the past, or guys, how do you understand solar currently?
I have looked at it a little bit, but I just don't think, we're at the age, we're 61, the two of us, and will we be able to recoup?
Right.
If we install ourselves? And then I hear that Massachusetts is paying for it, but I don't believe that.
Right. Do you get all the ads on Facebook that say free solar?
Yeah, stuff like that.
No, yeah. It's super gimmicky, and you got to be careful with that stuff because nothing's free in life,
Exactly.
There are a few different solar programs though, and the more popular ones, most people, they don't come out of pocket for. Instead, they just replace the electric bill with a lower electric bill. And it just depends a little on your situation, how we might want to set that up. I should probably, I need to ask you, the way that you, and I assume, do you have a family that lives with you, or?
Just basically my husband right now.
You and your husband? Okay, so the way that you and your husband currently use your power, would you say, are you pretty careful, with the AC in the summer, or I don't know, do you have a pool, are you or do you use a lot of power whenever you need it?
I have a lot of power, and yes, I try to be careful with that stuff. But we've been here for a long time. We've been here 30 years. I have a pond.
So a pond with a pump?
Koi pump. Yeah, koi
That's
pond.
Cool.
So I run a pump.
Yeah.
We have, a couple of outbuildings. They're usually off all the time. I have an electric hot water heater in one of my sheds for an outdoor shower. Stuff like that. And I've even thought about, how do I shut that off if we're not using it? And would it cost more if I shut it off and then have to turn it on when we're going to get ready to use it? Mm-hmm. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
That stuff. I have a lot of LED lights in the house.
Oh, good for you.
Constantly shutting lights off anyway, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then as far as so it sounds like the koi pond, and then do you guys have an air conditioning unit?
So here's the deal with the air conditioning right now. We have a very old split system that we got a split system when no one else had split systems. Mm-hmm. So we need to probably upgrade those in the next year or so. But like, I'm not using the one on the second floor at all. No one's home. My kids are gone. I don't use that one up there. The one on the first floor, like, I've had the house, as soon as I can tolerate even the humidity, I'm shutting it off and opening the house up.
Why is that?
Because I'd really rather not run it.
Because of
the electricity. I don't want to.
You don't want to pay for the electricity?
I don't want to pay for the electricity. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, most people don't.
And we're near the coast, so we get fairly good breezes here. It's and I'm talking in the 70s. I can live with the 70s, and then sometimes I shut it off, but just have a small unit in my bedroom that I'll run at night.
Is that like a window unit or a swamp cooler?
One of those stand.
Oh, cool.
The freestanding units, which is only a year or two old.
So living by the coast, like how many months out of the year do you typically run the air conditioning? I know this year's been a little odd with the weather, but like typically how many months do we run the air conditioning?
I would say 2 months.
Okay, like July and August or August, September.
Yeah. Sometimes, if you got to turn it on, if it gets super hot in the late spring, we'll put it on for a few days here and there kind of thing. But, we're not running it. We're not running that all the time.
So, because the reason I asked. Looking back at that, when she said 2 months, how I wish I would have responded, I would have said, 2 months? Why do you only run the air conditioning for 2 months? Is it only hot for 2 months out of the year in Massachusetts, or why do you only run it for 2 months? But we'll get more into that in a sec. Watch this. Because there are a few different ways to set up a solar program depending on how it could help you the most,
Right.
Some people I sit down with, they want to pay the bare minimum for electricity, which is, with the utility company, you can just use less. It's hard to pay less, but you can use less. With solar, you can pay less, and you could use less, or you could even use more with solar and still pay less than you are to the utility. So as far as like the way you currently use, I feel like the AC is the most tangible one to use. So like the way you use the AC, would you want to run it more if you could?
Probably.
Yeah. Like, for example, like what is it usually set at, and where would you set the thermostat if you could?
Usually around 70, 72.
Okay, that's where you'd want to set it, or where you have it now.
Yeah, at night sometimes I turn it up like 74. Nighttime I'll do a setback. Mm-hmm. I have to say though, the bedroom, if I'm using the bedroom AC, it's down at 68. I like it. I sleep with my window open.
Yeah.
At least crap all year long, even in the wintertime.
Oh, I think that's awesome. We go to school in Utah, and I'm the same way. But my wife, she doesn't like the windows open when there's snow on the ground, but I do. So I feel you. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, and then as far as like what National Grid is charging you for the power you are using, I know your bills are like probably pretty low most of the year, but like what are they getting up to?
At this point not, because I think my summer, I had the summer one, I just showed him that one. It was for something. It's a lot. I can't remember where I put that after I...
Okay, if you could find it, that would help, because we want, it helps to see the electric rate and also the power usage.
Right, and I had showed him that. Let me see if I can... Yeah, I think I got it right here. Yeah, and I also joined Inspire for to try to cut down. And I'm at $200 a month with them because I wanted to lock in because the prices are going up and down.
$200 a month, is that for supply or for delivery or for both?
For delivery. It's delivery.
Okay, so supply plus delivery, what does that come out to?
I don't know if I have that. Hold on.
It should be on the bill. It should be like the total bill amount or...
The total bill for August, July to August, was $427, and Inspire is $195.
Okay, and how much was delivery?
So National Grid, so $232.
You paid $232 for delivery?
Yep.
It's funny, because it's like, I don't know, do you ever shop on Amazon?
Yeah.
It's like, say you bought a really, really, really nice pair of shoes for $195. Like, would you ever pay $230 just to get it to your house? You know? Um,
Right.
it's like funny how somehow so many people have become okay with paying for their power and paying for delivery to like, or at least
Yeah.
paying a
Really
little for delivery is reasonable.
understand the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so you mentioned that prices were going up and down. Was that before you got on Inspire, or is that still since?
Yeah. Yes, before I got Inspire. I've only had Inspire for like maybe maybe the springtime, 5 or 6 months.
And how has that affected the electric costs?
Right now, it doesn't feel like it's great. And I think I'm stuck.
You're stuck?
Well, I think it's supposed to be a 2-year plan. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're stuck? Probe, clarify, label. That right there is mirroring. You're stuck? And she clarified. You hear that?
Oh, because so are you saying you might want to get off of Inspire?
Sign up. Listen, I want to do whatever I can to bring all my costs down.
Right. No, I don't blame you.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, 200 right now, 195 a month is pretty good compared to what I was paying when I signed up, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I guess 200 is good for supply, but I guess suppose you could cut out the delivery charges altogether, right? And just pay for like I mean, that's how I explain it. That's not actually how it works, but essentially we cut out delivery charges if you are eligible for on-site generation. Like would that, or I guess like what type of impact would that have for you guys?
Well, it would be great because I keep discussing with my husband that I want to retire soon so I can spend more time with my grandchildren. And he's like, we can't afford that right now. This is just not, and we don't see ourselves going anywhere fast. Like it's funny, my property in the city, I have like a half an acre, which is like unheard of. I'm like 13 miles from work, Boston.
Wow.
And I have chickens. I have a pond.
That's awesome.
People just don't quite understand. They're like, what? Where do you live? Like I said, we've been here for 30 years. We've been doing this for a long time. And, my daughter moved out, I think probably 2.5 years ago, my youngest, maybe 3. And like I said, we're not even up on the second floor. We don't use the second floor. There's no lights on up there. There's nothing should be drawing up there.
Right.
And then my husband left this morning for Georgia. He's on the road now. He may be on the road until the end of October. So basically, it's me. I only work from home 2 days a week. I'm in work. The house is shut down. I mean, when I come home, when it starts getting dark, I'm coming home to my house is dark, black, because I am trying to keep everything off.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're doing most everything you can to lower the electric bill as it is. This might sound like a silly question, but it's like, I guess if suppose the rates do continue to go up, like they have for the last 4 or 5 years, aside from trying to use less power, do you guys have any answer to like avoid spending more on electricity than you'd want to?
No, like I would love to put in, my own windmill. I would love to do solar if I understood how it all worked and I wasn't paying a fortune for it to install it.
Right.
And maintain it myself. I mean, what happened?
Guys, do you hear the emotion that we are getting on this call? Like her talking about what she wants to change, what she doesn't like about her situation, how she wants to change it if she could, what she wants to be different. That emotional level, she's feeling something right there. She is feeling something towards the power company, and she's feeling something as how her situation would be different if we could solve that problem for her. That's what we're going for, the emotional level.
Answer to like avoid spending more on electricity than you'd want to?
No, like I would love to put in, my own windmill. I would love to do solar if I understood how it all worked and I wasn't paying a fortune for it to install it.
Right.
and maintain it myself. I mean, what happens with that? Once it's installed, then I'm responsible for it all. And what is that? What is the long-term cost? Listen,
Okay.
I love a, what's it called? A geothermal system.
I met a guy in the neighborhood the other day with that, but
Ant system, whatever it's called.
he paid like $75,000 to install it though.
Right.
Crazy.
No, I know. It's crazy. I know. I understand it. And you know, who wouldn't love to be able to do that?
Cool.
You know, we're trying to cut back on bills so that we can retire in, you know, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, based on what like you've told me, and also like based on like how you explained how you would want a solar program to work out for you, what we do, like I think it could probably help you. Is it okay if I talk for a few minutes and kind of explain the details of how it works? So basically, instead of, because you're right, there's.
What's the name of your company again?
Are you looking it up? Type in Enlight Home. ENLITE.
EN.
LITE. Enlight.
Okay.
HOME. Home. And find us on Google. That's where most of our customers go to leave reviews. You can look at us on Yelp, but it's funny. You'll see most of the Yelp reviews are from people who didn't actually work with us. They just saw us on their Ring camera when we knocked on the door, and they said, "How is door-to-door still a thing in 2023?" But, which I agree. I see where they're coming from, but at the same time, I'm like, how are you paying 3 times the national average for your electricity, and you haven't done anything about it yet? You know, like that's why we have to go door to door, is because a lot of people aren't even aware that they had a choice.
Right. So I guess your brother had talked to my husband first, and he won't talk to anybody. So he came back, and my husband sent me out to talk to him. So
Yeah. So the way this could possibly work, of course, it's something that has to be applied for and approved of, since because basically the project is funded by the state, the federal government, and then the solar company funds the rest of it. Because there's these incentives. There's all these different incentives and programs. And so the way that incentives have lined up the last couple of years, like I partner with 4 of the largest solar companies in the nation, and most of them, they just said, you know, what if instead of selling solar equipment, we could just sell solar power? And that way we could be a utility company, but at almost half the cost of what National Grid charges for electricity. And so what that looks like, right? Because the old solar programs, you're right. You know, you had to go into debt, $50,000. You had to put up a huge down payment or cash or whatever. And on top of that, once they sold you the solar equipment with the old programs, you were responsible for your equipment, your problems, you know?
Right.
And if it didn't work for whatever reason, you already paid for solar, and now you're back to paying National Grid because your solar doesn't work. The program if you wanted to do one of the old programs, I have those resources and we could look at it, but it's not typically what I'd recommend, at least based on what you told me about your situation. The way that this program works,
So right there, old program, new program, that frame, we're changing the context. So we're changing the allowable behavior. She was talking about earlier, right, about how solar's so expensive, I don't want it to cost a fortune. That's the old program. But now that I have a new program, now that the context is different, she can go solar. When solar was what she thought it was, she wasn't allowed to go solar in her mind because of those reasons. But now that it's different, she can behave differently. We change the context, we change the allowable behavior.
It's called a power purchase program. And so instead of you buying your power from the power lines, you buy it from the solar panels. And instead of you guessing what your rate is going to be with National Grid, because do you know what National Grid's rate's going to be next year or in 5 years or 10 years from now? So the solar company says, hey, well, first of all, we're not paying for a power plant. Well, we are in the form of solar, but we're not paying for resources. We're not paying for real estate. We're not paying workers. We just pay a guy to monitor and maintain your system. We send the truck around the neighborhood whenever it's needed. Our production costs are way less than National Grid's. And so what that
Right.
means for you is instead of you paying, well, we can look at your electric rate here in a minute, but whatever rate you're paying with National Grid, we can, first of all, in the first year, we lower that rate by 30 to 40%, and then we protect that rate. So you're not guessing. You know what your electric rate's going to be in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years from now. You know, they say we'll protect it, and actually, we'll actually put it in writing. We won't raise your electric rate without your permission. So, that was a lot of information all at once. What's like the first thought or question that pops into your head?
How do you keep the rate the same then?
Yeah, so
Because it'll be solar, right? I mean,
right. Well, it's not structured like your traditional utility company. It's not based on market conditions. It's not based on politics. Maybe there's a little politics, but the incentives are here right now, and once we capitalize on the incentives, we've capitalized on them, and it's done, right? So there's no like, it's not based on the economy or who's president, like none of that crazy stuff. It's basically once the project has been funded for your property, the solar company, that's a fixed cost. It's like, hey, dude, the solar company just invested in a power plant for you, and say it costs anywhere from $40,000 to $80,000. Who knows? Whatever it costs the solar company to put it up.
right.
Now that the solar company knows their investment to produce, because that's right, they're not paying for resources, they're not paying labor, they're not paying any of that crazy stuff. They can say, hey, we can outline every single charge for your electricity for up to 25 years. Whereas if say you went to National Grid and you said, hey, National Grid, how much are you going to charge me for my electricity over the next 20 years? They can't tell you, or if you took an agreement to them and said, hey, National Grid, I want you to charge me this electric rate and protect it. Like they could never do it because they have so many variable costs, right?
Right.
Whereas here with the solar company, it's a fixed cost. It's like, hey, dude, we built a power plant for you and it's yours. Like, it's not actually yours because we're going to maintain it, but all the power that comes from it is yours.
Right.
So that way you don't have to guess. Yeah, no worries.
Guys, I hope that was helpful in giving you an idea of how you can run a question-based appointment without it being weird. Like, none of that felt weird or uncomfortable. None of those questions felt like unusual or strange or like I was overstepping my boundaries. We were just having a conversation. I was trying to understand her situation so that I could best help her and find a solution that would be most beneficial to her situation. And how do I know what solution to offer if I don't know where she's coming from, what challenges she's facing, how she feels about those challenges, and how she wants to resolve them? So if you guys want to see the second half of this appointment where I commit, we line everything up, hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments if this is something you're actually watching and looking forward to. And I can go through and do the rest of this appointment if you want me to, or I could even do more appointments. I have a number of live appointments and door approaches recorded that I can share. So let me know in the comments if you want more of this. And if not, I hope what you got from this video, you can go take it, apply it, and let it rip. We'll see ya. Peace.